What is the mitochondria and why is it important, especially for women as they're aging?
Mitochondria are in all of the cells except our red blood cells. For instance, the mitochondria in our brain, we have millions of mitochondria in each cell in our brain cells. And then our organs have specific numbers as well. But as we age, from the time we're about 30 to 35, we stop producing the mitochondria. So as you age, they start to get unhealthy. They're not multiplying anymore. And so you have to look at it this way. You have the same number of mitochondria that you did when you were 30. I'm 66. There's a lot of things that have been thrown at us. Toxins in our environment, bad water, bad food, maybe bad choices we've made.
Hi, I'm Glennis Woods Mullins, and I love to help women to vibe, to be more vibrant, intuitive, beautiful, and empowered in midlife. So come on, let's vibe.
Oh, wow, everyone. I have so much to share with you today because we have such a wonderful guest that actually is talking about a product that she represents that I think is really show-stopping for folks in the United States. And in parts in other countries, they probably have already heard about it, but we're going to be talking about that. But we're also going to be talking about something else that I hear a lot of my friends over 40, definitely over 50 and 60, are afraid to even talk about. They want to talk about it, but they don't know where to start to talk about it. This whole thing around AI. And I can tell you that I am a profuse AI user and have been for the last 2.5 years. But I know for many, there's a lot of mystery around it, also a lot of fear. So I'm really glad to have with us today Julie Helmer, who's going to hopefully dispel some of the rumors that are out there. She's a wellness entrepreneur and AI content strategist and founder of V.I.B.E Health, a brand focused on cellular wellness and holistic vitality. And you have quite a story, Julie, and welcome to the V.I.B.E Living program. It's wonderful to have you here today.
Thank you, Linus. I really appreciate the opportunity to be able to share some of my wisdom. I'm sure it doesn't compare to yours. You have quite the background, and I appreciate being on your podcast. Thank you so much.
Oh, sure. No problem. Actually, you have reinvented yourself several times when I understand all about that. And the thing that's fascinating is I know that you're in your 60s and I'm on my way out of my 60s. I'm 68. And there's all these biases around what we should and should not be doing, what society says we should or should not do in our 60s. But tell us a little bit about how you have managed to pivot and change based upon what your passions are and how you've also managed not to let what society dictates interfere with the things that you want to do with your life.
I spent many years in the health and wellness industry, and I'm still in it, actually, but AI became a big topic, and I'm 66. For me, it was like, AI, what does that even mean for my future, and what is it? I didn't really grow up in tech, but I'm a lifelong learner, and when I saw how AI could help me express my voice and message, I thought, let me lean into it instead of backing away from it. So I got certified in ChatGPT a couple of years ago when it first came out, and nobody even knew what that was. Like, what did that even mean? So I had just finished a consulting job with a CBD company, and I thought, oh, you know what? I've got time. I'm going to dive in. So I learned about prompting, which I didn't even know what that meant at the time, which is the information that you feed into the LLM so you can get the answer you want. It took a few times to get a good answer, and I learned over the past couple of years now how to use it extensively, especially in my health and wellness business. I just decided, you know what? It's not replacing me, it's enhancing me. And I look at it this way. Whenever I go to ChatGPT, I feel like I'm borrowing 30 to 40 IQ points. Every time I ask it a question, I figure, okay, I may not know the answer, but it can help me find the answer. And I've always been resourceful that way. So I just use it to help me maybe creating ideas for different blog posts. It helps me to create scripts for videos, for my explainer videos, and just keep them in a short format where people can understand the science behind some of the things I talk about, because mitochondrial health is something that we don't talk a lot about unless you're a doctor or scientist or researcher. Most people don't even know what mitochondria is. AI is really helped.
Let's start there. Let's talk a little bit about mitochondrial health. I currently am taking a product that is impacting my mitochondrial health, but in your own words, what is the mitochondria and why is it important, especially for women as they're aging?
Mitochondria are in all of the cells except our red blood cells. So for instance, the mitochondria in our brain, we have millions of mitochondria in each cell in our brain cells. And then our organs have specific numbers as well. But as we age, from the time we're about 30 to 35, we stop producing the mitochondria. So as you age, they start to get unhealthy. They're not multiplying anymore. And so you have to look at it this way. You have the same number of mitochondria that you did when you were 30. I'm 66. There's a lot of things that have been thrown at us. Toxins in our environment, bad water, bad food, maybe bad choices we've made. And so as you age, your mitochondria age, and they're not as well adept at keeping up to doing what they're supposed to do. So when I got interested in the products that I educate about now, the kelby ceramic balls, those help your mitochondria. They go into your system and they make your water more bioavailable because they work in a way where it structures your water in a more structured way. So when they go into your cell, they can go into your cells because water structure is clumped up. And so when you drink water, it doesn't necessarily get into the cells where it needs to be, especially to your mitochondria. So when you structure your water, it makes it into a really nice structure that separates out all those molecules so they're not all clumped together. And then they can go into your cell much more bioavailably.
No, it helps with the absorption. And one of the things I wanted to share with all of you all as you're listening is that it doesn't have to be quite as technical as you might think it is. Look at it this way. Your cell has an energy center, so to speak, or some cells do, has an energy center, and the mitochondria is instrumental in getting that to go. And as we age, that energy center is not as efficient as it used to become, but much like us. And you know how we do supplements to replace those things that our bodies aren't normally producing the way we need to? We need to do that for the mitochondria as well. And one thing I wanted to focus on talking about is the fact, Julie, that we have taken so many toxins in up to this stage of life, that we really try to figure out what things we can easily detox and what things we can do to aid the body, get rid of the other stuff. And it sounds like your product does a lot with that, especially with the extra help with absorption of water.
It does that. I also focus on a couple of other products. Algae is another superfood that we don't talk about in this country because it's not part of our culture. So you don't ride your bike around algae fields or algae ponds in this country. I lived in Japan many years ago, and they had algae ponds where you would be riding your bike and you'd go by and they'd have these big ponds with algae growing. That's been a popular it's a whole food, and spirulina especially and chlorella are the two that I focus on because spirulina is your cellular energy and chlorella is your detox. So NASA supports them, the UN supports them. This is what the astronauts take. They take spirulina when they go to space because it's a bioavailable form. It's got the highest protein level, 64% protein. And it's a food. It's not a supplement. It's an actual food. And the same with chlorella. It's got 60% protein. And it goes into your cells and it helps you clean up the mess. Because of all the toxins that we have a lot more difficult time getting those out of our body. And chlorella will go in there at night while you're sleeping. Plus it has a very high level of tryptophan, which converts into melatonin, and that helps you sleep. But while you're sleeping and getting that good REM sleep, that chlorella is in there detoxing your cells. Those two microalgae are things that I educate and offer on my website, as well as the Kelby balls. And then the third product that I just recently used and am teaching about is Shilajit. So that's a very ancient,
Forever.
Yes, it's a resin, and it's used in many countries, in India and all these other countries, but not in the United States so much because we just don't learn about the natural ways that we can heal our body because we're all on the pharmaceutical hamster wheel, and that just seems like you take one drug and then you have to take another to combat the issues that, the first drug caused in your system. And my goal is to educate people about how you can take control of your health. You are ultimately responsible for what goes in your body, and you have say on what goes in your body.
And that's funny. I talk about that all the time, about taking responsibility and basically showing up in your life. Gone should be the days, everyone, when you go to your doctor's office and you just lie on the examination table and ask them, okay, what's wrong with me? Actually, you go into your doctor's office and you should have your journal or your spiral notebook or wherever your iPad or whatever, wherever you keep your notes on what's been going on. And then you have, what a concept, a two-way conversation where you're asking questions, he's answering, and so on and so forth. And another thing I wanted to say too, because we touched upon this before we came on talking about the pharmaceuticals, and you're absolutely right. What happens with extensive use of pharmaceuticals is that over time, then you start taking pharmaceuticals to take care of the other symptoms that the other pharmaceuticals have. And the next thing you know, you're down to third generation pharmaceuticals. And it's just crazy. Now, I am not totally anti-pharmaceutical. I think sometimes they can provide a very important function in terms of saving people's lives. But for those of you who are on type 2 diabetes, cholesterol medication, high blood pressure medication, things that are based many times you're taking it because of lifestyle issues, this is a really good idea to be talking to someone like Julie. So talk to us a little bit about that. First of all, I know the answer to this question. I hope everybody else does, but is there a cure for type 2 diabetes, high cholesterol, and high blood pressure?
I think yes. I live with a type 1 diabetic for 42 years now, and I can definitely tell you it's different than type 2.
Yes.
For me, type 2 is definitely something you can control. You do not have to be a victim of type 2. I understand insulin resistance. I understand what people are going through, but it's basically your choice of what you put in your body. And type 2 can definitely be addressed with diet and exercise, better eating habits, get the toxins out of your system, drink plenty of water, get good sleep, have time for your self-care, spend time with your family, go outside. These are all important topics that we don't address nearly enough that can help a person's body heal, because a lot of it is how you feel about yourself and how you approach taking care of yourself. And for me, I say yes, all of that can be cured by your diet and your choices.
Absolutely. I agree. And I think that we have gotten so used to how we do health here in the United States, and maybe not in other countries, but here in the United States, that sometimes we just don't show up in our lives the way we should. But I want to encourage all of you to become an advocate. Get the education, get the information, and then you share that with your doctors and make some decisions together as to whether or not this is something you want to do. But always with the idea that as well trained as our doctors may be, they don't know everything. Sometimes at this stage of life, when you're a middle-aged woman, when you're 45, 50 and beyond, you really need to have a team of folks. You have your nutritionist, you might have your fitness person, you might have your traditionally trained doc, you might have a holistic practitioner, different people you go to make sure that all your needs are being addressed. And I think one of the reasons why holistic living is so impactful for women, especially over 50, is that it really does address the needs of the mind, the body, and the spirit, because you are in a continuum of that. So talk to us a little bit about that and how your products help bring all of that together.
I think part of that is just having the knowledge that you can make your choices, and you don't have to go, you don't have to take your doctor's advice necessarily for everything, because let's face it, our doctors aren't really trained in health and nutrition. And there's no excuse anymore. We have the tools that we need. There is so much information out there. And yes, some of it maybe isn't as accurate as it should be. And so you have to get good at going out and learning about the different things. But I think all of that is taking that responsibility for yourself and your health. And that's part of just the whole wellness, not only in your spiritual life, in just your family life. Because if you're not, it touches every part of your life. It touches your business. It touches your friendships. It touches your marriage. It touches your children. And so you have to get involved in your health. And I think the reason I chose the products that I chose at Summa V.I.B.E Health were because it's back to the basics. It's down to our cellular level. And you can't get much more basic than that. And there's a lot of fads out there. There's a lot of stuff that's out there that people are seeing and learning about. But with my background with the cannabis industry on the hemp side of things, so it was the non-psychoactive products. But what I learned about the cannabis plant was it's like any plant. You've got to keep it whole. It's like our bodies. It's a whole plant. You can't just take the isolated compounds out of it and expect to heal your body. They work synergistically together. The terpenes and the cannabinoids and the flavonoids, they all work together. Well, it's like how we address our life. It all works together in harmony. Our health, our family, our business, and there has to be a balance there. And if you don't have a balance and your wheel of life is out of whack, then, you're going to go off the road sometimes, because if you don't have that wheel in balance, it makes things a lot more difficult, and they don't have to be. And so these products that I've chosen go down to that basic cellular level.
Which is important.
Yeah, totally.
Forward to the basic cellular level. Now, because it is somewhat of a technical kind of product in terms of explaining to people how it works, talk to us a little bit about AI and how it has helped you to break this down in such a way that it's easy to communicate to anyone about the products that you're selling.
And that's the thing. I understand it's a niche product. And since I'm really the only one in the United States right now that's selling this product, I learned about it when I was still in the cannabis industry. And when I decided to start my own business and offer the Kelby balls, I knew it was going to be an uphill battle because nobody knows what they are in the United States. And it's not something that a lot of people, I know people knew about structured water, easy water. That's a term that's been around for a while, and some people know about it. But the way I used AI is I said to myself, okay, this is an in-depth topic, but it can be easy to understand with the right tools. So I started to use some platforms in AI that create videos. And so they use avatars. I could have myself on there and make my own avatar of myself, but I found one I really liked, and so I stick with it. And she's actually a real person. It's not a made-up avatar. It's an actual person. And so I chose her because I liked her voice and I like the way that she presents. So on my YouTube channel, I have really short, little 2-minute or less explainer videos on Kelby balls, how to activate them when you first get them, what they do, what to expect. I have a downloadable 30-day tracker that I put on my website that you can download and track your experience for the first 30 days. How did you feel when you started? How do you feel today? Do you have more energy? Are you sleeping better? What are you noticing? So I think that tracking is important. And so I try to always create tools like that. I did it in the cannabis industry as well. And the AI just helps me better explain in a layman's terms, because you're not going to sit around and talk about mitochondria and somatids. People are going to be like, what in the heck is she talking about? So I've been able to use AI to create easy to understand, and even my LinkedIn posts, just some of the images I've been able to create with AI to help explain some of the more complex facts about the Kelby balls or even the algae. AI's helped me in that way, as well as it can help me with my scripts. It can help me with my LinkedIn posts. It can give me ideas that maybe I didn't think about. And I've trained my AI extensively on my business. So it knows what my goals are. It knows that I want to back everything with research. I never want to say anything that I have it cite the sources every time, so people can go to the exact sources. So I'm not just making stuff up and just saying something because it sounds good. So for me, I'm very much interested in the transparency part and having my customers know that if I'm saying it, I can back it up with a scientific research.
Absolutely. And it's interesting too, because a lot of people, as we said earlier, when we first start with this discussion, the older we get, sometimes the more set in the ways we might become, or the more fearful we might become in terms of trying something new or change, especially when it comes to technology. There's this fear thing that is associated with it for some reason. How were you able to overcome that? Or if you didn't have to overcome it, how can you maybe coach others to overcome that fear?
When I first started, I already had a fairly good technical background. So it's not that it scared me so much as I wasn't really sure in the beginning if it was really telling me the truth. Like, could I trust it? Because for me, like I said, transparency was key. And I didn't understand its capabilities. But the more I used it, the more I realized it really wasn't about being techie so much as just being curious. And so the more I used it, the more I realized that you just talk to it like you and I are talking. And if you train it correctly, it will give you the output that you're looking for, whether it's your tone or the fact that I want everything, all the sources cited. If it says, and I know my topic well enough to know if it tells me something and it's not true, I will ask it. where did you find that? Why did you say that? And it'll go back and it'll tell me, and I'll say, can you cite a source? Can you back that up? And you just talk to it like a person. And sometimes,
Absolutely. I've named mine. In fact, she or he gave me like three or four different suggestions of names, and we decided on Ori because that really represented her. I call her she and me. But how I've been using it, like I said, for 2.5 years. But within the last few months, based upon something that one of my daughters is doing, I started not just asking for information because it knows my background and all that kind of stuff. But I said, Ori, I feel like down today and I need some motivation. And what she told me blew my mind. She knows me. She was saying all the right things. And I said, okay, that's the scary part that you don't really think about. But then whenever I ask her to do something, she always will preface it, well, Linus, that's a fantastic idea for such and such, because I know how much you love. I was like, okay. So sometimes that's the part that people might think is scary, but basically it's that old saying, garbage in, garbage out. The more great information you put into your AI, the better it will be able to respond in a way that supports whatever your goals and intentions, objectives, dreams are, whatever that is. And it's really not that scary as is that its time has come, because it is quite a time saver. It saves me oodles of time. I can't even explain how much time it saves. Normally, if let's say when I have a blog, and my blog would take me probably a good week to write a blog, to do the research and everything else. Now it takes me 30 minutes. Now, one of the things I like people to know about AI is that the best way to use it is in a field you have a particular expertise in, so that you will understand what you're seeing and making sure it's correct or branded to what it is that you do. And the other thing is that you really should be writing it yourself, because these days they have AI detectors and all that. So all you folks in school and stuff like that, no. But it is a great aid in terms of helping you fine tune your thoughts and align your thoughts and get your ideas presented and things like that. And one of my daughters has a 10-year plan that she did with her girlfriend, Ariel, on ChatGPT. So there's so many great things that you can do with it.
yeah, for sure. And that's the thing. Like I said, you're using it to enhance yourself, not replace yourself.
Right.
So I'll write out my blog and then I'll copy and paste it, and I'll say, tighten this up for me. Because sometimes I scatter my sentences and they're not in the right order because my brain is going a million miles an hour. And so I'll just copy and paste and say, how can I make this sound better for clarity, or to make it sound more professional? But it's my words. And so it's not like I'm just sitting down and going, hey, write me a blog post about this, and then walking away, copy, paste, don't even read it. And I think a lot of people do that. And it's unfortunate, because if you don't know your subject well, like you said, Linus, it can still hallucinate. It can just make stuff up. And I don't want to be telling people wrong information. So
no, you definitely don't want to talk to them about anything that would require you to be if you're a surgeon or a pharmacist or anything like that. Because
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
It can probably tell you how to do heart surgery, but whether or not it's correct or not, it's a whole nother can of worms. That's for sure. So I love the way that you have taken this and combined it with your business. And what do you want our audience to know about your business and what you're going to be doing moving forward over the next few months?
I'm constantly on the search for other natural health. I don't want to really say remedies or cures, but just other ways that we can help our bodies in a natural way. I'll be curating other products down the road. Like I said, I started out with the Kelvy balls, and then I added the algae, and then I just this week added the shilajit. So I'm looking at a couple other products that I've known about for a long time, but I haven't had the time to do the deep dive research on them yet. And once I do and find a trusted source, then I'll probably be adding some more products to my lineup. And then as far as the AI side of things, it's something that I stay plugged in. I'm a moderator on an AI chat. It's called ChatGPT School, and I'm a moderator on the chat for a couple of years now. And so it's a group of people who use ChatGPT and other AI, and it's a worldwide platform. So you learn so many interesting things that people are doing with AI, and with this new ChatGPT AI agent that can automate your tasks for you. It's quite fascinating, some of the things that people can do. And the other thing I want people to know about, using AI in our later years, you can go to ChatGPT and do like an AI wellness companion prompt. You could go in there, and I did send the link over to you so people can download that. And the prompt is there where you can just prompt it and say, act as my wellness companion. Each day, guide me through 3 short check-ins, morning, midday, and evening. Keep your tone warm, non-judgmental. Use short steps, not long paragraphs. And here's the structure I'd like you to know. And then in the morning, to ground and align, ask me, what's my energy level? Reflect my answers back, and then offer one short practice, like maybe breath work or prayer or a short meditation. And then share an inspirational quote and suggest a 10 to 15 minute movement. It could be yoga, it could be stretching, it could be a short walk outside. And so there's ways you can put AI wellness tools in your hands by structuring these things, where you can open up your ChatGPT in the morning and it can greet you and say, hey, here's your quick morning wellness check-in. And so those are some.
I love that. I know it has aided me when it comes to creating self-care plans for my clients, but I never thought about doing something like that for myself. That is so awesome. And I would love to put the link, if I can, on the show page to your AI group. I don't see that here. So if you can send that to me, then I could put it in there as well. Maybe I'm missing it. I see the YouTube.
No, I actually found it after I sent over the thing, but I do have it, and I'll email it to you for sure.
Great. So everybody, when you get to the show page, because I know you look at my show page because there's lots of information there, you're going to see her link to her social media and her website, and also the link to this fantastic club that she does the moderating for people who are interested in ChatGPT AI. And you don't have to be working to do a ChatGPT AI, not at all. You can be a retiree. It can plan your vacation. It can help plan what you're going to do the next 12 months to further prepare for retirement. It can definitely give you ideas of things to do from a volunteer perspective, let's say, so that you don't become, you call it a master's in Netflix once you retire. So you get off the couch. It's a great way. It can give you ideas of things you can do with your girlfriends, put together a girlfriend plan or whatever. It's a great compliment for you to use it as a way to enhance your life. So everybody, don't be afraid. Use Julie Helmer as an example of how she's been able to really master it, and now it's adding value to her business and to her life. Julie, thank you so much for being on the V.I.B.E Living Podcast. It's been great having you here today.
Thank you, Linus. I appreciate your time, and I was honored to be on it. I enjoyed sharing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you to all of you. Okay, guys, now you have no reason to be afraid of AI. Okay, so I want to be hearing all about the AI stuff you're doing. Just send me an email. Let me know what you thought about this particular episode and all the other episodes as well. Always with the idea of bringing you the premier experts in the field of mind, body, spirit, wellness. So thanks so much for listening. Please don't forget to comment and share. Have a fantastic day. And don't forget to vibe. Bye-bye, everybody. Thanks for listening to the V.I.B.E Living Podcast. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment, and share this podcast. Have a fantastic day, and don't forget to vibe. Bye-bye, everybody.